Good evening, my fellow Americans. Welcome to another episode, and I'm so happy to be here tonight. And I have some very interesting conversation to have with you all tonight. Hopefully it'll do you some good. You'll be able to use it. It'll be something that you can tell to your family, even your children, or your fellow loved ones, that they will be likely to have some very, very favorable likelihood behind it from what you're actually telling them. We're definitely hoping for that. But we want to definitely keep our eyes open and stay vigilant in what's going on, around us and our surroundings, because I think they have a lot of people that's actually spying for them in terms of with this COVID-19, and actually, seeing who's a possible threat and who's not, because it seems like to me that they're taking on all type of different aspects of this thing. This thing is migrating and is mutating so fastly on a daily basis that it's kind of beyond your scope of how you can really comprehend it. But I also believe that if we don't possibly stand up to actually wearing these masks like we're wearing every day, they're going to actually use some sort of algorithm to use against us, in the near future, because I know there's some kind of way that they're actually counting, they have a way to probably with the app on either the Android or the iPhone, or they may have a satellite that's able to view down and see, that comes up, might be some type of heat sensor or something, that the people that are actually wearing the mask, and they're counting it, and I guess, they're counting it, and then I guess when they get to a certain number, that they're going to really implement a real virus out here that's going to actually really start taking us out. Because at this point, we know it's some sort of strain, there's something going on, but they're also adding some extra additives to it to make you believe that, that the common cold is actually something that's detrimental to your health and it could possibly kill you. So all these other attributes that they've added to it is what seems to be the issue, and why people have a hard time of comprehending what's actually really going on, because nobody really knows, if you're not a scientist or you don't have the knowledge behind this type of actual these pathogens and these sort of viruses, at a molecular level, you won't know what's really going on, unless someone actually sits you down and inform you what's going on. Even the people that are taking these tests, I forgot the name of the test that they're taking, I think it's the PGR, don't fault me on that, but I think that's what they're calling it. But they're saying that's not the actual test for COVID. It's more like a test for SARS and something else to that effect. But they're saying that this test is not 100% accurate, and they're not actually telling you if basically what you're consenting to. They're not actually informing you of what you're actually being tested for. They just they're basically saying that if you're running a fever and you look like you might have the symptoms of coronavirus or COVID-19, they're going to give you this test, and it's going to actually come back negative or positive. But quote unquote, don't get me wrong, I mean, that's something that's up in the air, because like I said, once again, you don't really know what's going on, and you're not allowed in the hospital. I don't know what it is. I mean, as far as I know, you're not allowed in the hospital. Someone has COVID in your family, they're not going to let you in. I mean, I think if it's a baby or children at a certain age, probably from the age of 1 on up, who knows what the age bracket is, but we know for a fact that I know for in some situations when you go into these hospitals now, it's almost like you're going into a prison. They're scanning your forehead, they're asking you, unfavorable questions, this, that, and the third. So you're actually being watched on all levels, of this thing. So it just seems that there's a higher authority over this stuff. It's not just the government, but there's somebody that's actually a body of individuals or quote unquote elites that's over this whole issue, that's actually controlling this whole puppet show with this COVID-19. We know that it's been actually affecting all of our lives. People don't know which way to go. Everybody has a fear factor in their life. Probably from 1 to 10. And 10 being the highest, and 10 is probably 90% of the people that's with that fear factor, because everywhere you go, people are looking like they are definitely fighting to death. They don't know, if they got COVID, or if they don't know how they're going to contract COVID. You don't know what to do. You don't know where it's coming from. But the thing is, I find so striking to me, I was in Home Depot the other day getting some material, because like I'm a master plumber, and the name of my company is Pipe Dreams Plumbing. So get with me, Google me, check me out. You know, for the fellow people that's here in Atlanta, Georgia, you know, I'm trying to get my business established. You know, I'm not trying to get no brownie points, but I thought I'd put that out there. I'm actually a great plumber. I have 2 master licenses, and I've been doing it for 22 years. But back to what I was talking about. I was in Home Depot, and this guy, I mean, he had a mask on, like, I mean, he was strapped down like he was getting ready for war. But then he had his dog with him. And so the dog is just, you know, walking along. I said, well, where's your dog mask at? The guy just looked at me and smiled, and he started laughing. I said, yeah. I said, that's something you need to think about. I mean, the dog is breathing the same air. You know, our animals are breathing the same air as we breathe. But yet alone, you know, we don't have them masked up. You know, they could be a potential, you know, customer or a potential character that have, you know, the virus or whatever. You know, that's right amongst you. You know, I mean, who knows? Who knows? I mean, even though their structure might be a little bit different than ours, but they're breathing the same air that we're breathing. But at the same time, you know, they're not masked up. So, I mean, these little things, you know, you can look at and tell that this attack is against us, the American people. And we have to formulate and strategize an attack that where we can come back and counter this stuff. Because, you know, we are here to live. We're not here to die. No one wants to die. But at the same time, if you're afraid to live, then you must be afraid to die. So you got to pick your poison. You got to pick your poison. So if you want to live, then you can't be afraid to die. Because when you live, you want to be uninhibited. You want to be able to do the things you want to do. You want to be able to, you know, go out into the wilderness. You know, go as you please. You don't want nobody telling you where you can't go, what you're allowed to do, or just to have you in a frightened state. You know, like if you do something out of line, you're gonna be spanked or you're gonna be possibly sent off to jail. You know, for something that you actually do just for standing up for your right, just for being an American. You know, on this soil. I mean, first and foremost, you know, this is our land. This is our country. You know, they have a lot of, you know, people fought for the rights that we have now, you know, in this country. You know, and we have to figure out, you know, how to keep these rights, because if we don't, we're gonna lose them. You know, the powers that be are trying to, you know, take our rights away from us at every given step that we're making today. So we don't be vigilant and just watch what's going on around us. I mean, the fact of the matter that, you know, you don't even have to say that, you know, you just want to be against wearing the mask, or you just want to do this, or be somebody that's, you know, going against what the quote unquote the authorities are saying, like whatever the CDC is proliferating, you know, for that matter. You know, we don't want to be somebody that seems like, you know, we're fascists or we're going against what the government's saying. But at the same time, we have a right to have an idea or identity of what we think, that the way we should think as individuals, as, you know, corporal beings, you know, with a sound mind, and that's not really or willing to be just bogged down with a bunch of information that's coming in so fast, you don't even have the time to think about it. You know, I mean, almost like, you know, you're under MK Ultra or it's mind control. You know, it's just not a good time in America right now. I mean, this thing, I mean, it's only been like, what, 10 months? Possibly going on close to almost a year since this the advent of this COVID-19 or coronavirus came out, and this done basically took down the whole country. I mean, small businesses are being, basically decapitated. I mean, and then everything is now, you know, you have to go to all the big box stores and to do any of your shopping, unless you know, the type of person that like to go online like me. But then, you know, you find, you know, some striking, you know, similarities even when you're shopping online. You know, these folks, you know, you might have a package, you know, that you might have ordered something from either Amazon or eBay. You know, it may take a little longer due to COVID. So this COVID thing has affected the whole world, basically. And we're trying to figure out a way to come up out of this. I mean, you know, unmarked, unscathed, and, you know, we want all of our fellow elderly people, all our babies, you know, them not be bombarded, not to be able to, you know, get their proper, you know, training at a young age, because right now the children are confused. They don't know the reason why they got masks on. They don't know why they see people with masks on. So their minds are being, you know, discombobulated. They don't know what to think. You know, and it's a sad situation. It's a sad situation, you know, what's going on, you know, with our elderly and with our babies. And nobody really has an answer to what this thing is, but it just, something just feels uneasy about it. You know, there's something not right about it. And I'm just one of the people that just not going to go for anything. And as you will see on other videos that I will put out, I'm going to have some live information about some of the court cases that I fought. I mean, that I've actually recorded and put on, on a digital recorder in the courtroom, fighting speeding tickets, cases that was thrown against me that wasn't warranted, but I stood up for my right and I beat these cases, and I had the judges to recuse themselves, because all it took for me is to to have my own mindset and not be afraid of these people, because what you're dealing with the Grim Reaper when you're looking at that judge. These people are heartless, and if you stand up to them and not back down, have a question with a question, in a lot of similar situations, is what I pose. They really don't. They're really not going to be able to formulate a winning strategy against you. So these are some of the things you have to do. But some of these videos will be coming forth to you guys, and hopefully you'll like it and you'll subscribe to my video and keep me strong and keep me going. Leave me comments so that I can respond to the comments, in a favorable way and in a timely manner to show you folks that I'm interested in everything that you have to say. Whether it be some negative comments or they're positive. I'm not afraid, to speak out against, this authority or this establishment, because I'm only one man. I know that, but at the same time, I'm a one man with a strong, mindset and has heart. I've always been a fighter, and I'm gonna be a fighter until the day I die. So that's anybody that knows me from when I was coming up, I was always a fighter, and I was always have my own way of thinking, and in some ways I was a follower. I say that because a lot of us when we were young we were followers, but at the same time I figured out a way to to rise above all that and be where I am right now. But once again, my fellow Americans, I just want us to stand strong, have hope, and if you got any faith if you're a religious person, keep your faith up high and pray for us. Pray for this, for us against this COVID-19, because this is a nasty thing that's going on in this country, and it's not fair to us as Americans, because they're not telling us the whole truth and nothing but the truth. They're speaking with a forked tongue. Like I said, these folks, they speak to you one way on the camera, but behind closed there's something totally different. There's some type of animal or dragon or something like that. So, but I think we are in almost in a time of revelation, because a lot of this stuff is fulfilling in the scripture, about what's going on now, and then you can see it almost like verbatim, word for word, and it's just like it's a script that's being followed. There's like some string that's being pulled, and me myself, I'm just trying to inform the people the best way I can. It takes a lot for me to sit down and do this. I'm here, this is just me on my own recognizance. Nobody's giving me any ideas about this. This is just something that's coming from me, from inside me, from my mindset, from my heart. This is the things that I want to speak about. Nobody's forcing me to do it. I'm not being compelled to do it. But at the same time, I know that I have to stay firm and stand firm for everything that I'm speaking about, and be able to back everything that I'm saying up. If there are questions about what I'm saying, but I'm not gonna get into too much of the scientific part of it, because a lot of this stuff I don't know for sure. A lot of the stuff I've been watching documentation, because I do watch other videos on YouTube. That some of the guys, they seem like they know what they're saying, they know what they're talking about, but at the same time, there's no proven fact about any of this stuff. So everything is up in the air. You don't know who to believe. You really don't know who to believe. You just think, for a minute, if somebody can sit down and just tell you something and you totally believe in it, you'd be like, man, it seems like you've been duped, or you seem like your mind is being pimped. It's just a scary situation, man. You don't even know, if you go out on a job, to go to work, just to do your daily activities on your job, you don't know, that may be your last day, because somebody might say, well, I heard he had COVID, so we need to let him or her go. So, it's just a difficult period right now. But I think, this too shall pass. Hopefully this too shall pass. And when we want to keep that mindset that this too shall pass, because we want it to pass. We don't want to keep having to deal with this stuff and be, listening to these folks, all the way, always in our ear, with the news. They're telling us this, they're telling us that, about the numbers, about the cases, this, that, and the third, about, what's to come, we're just tired of it. We're tired of it. We want to get back to normalcy, but we keep hearing that this is the new norm. It's not the new norm for me. some people that's probably willing to take it as being a new norm, walking around with a mask, look like you're a muzzled dog or something like that, or you just, you might looking like you somebody that's getting ready to do a scientific experiment on somebody because you have the mask on. All you need is your white coat, and then it'll look like a hospital outside or a psychiatric ward. So like I say, it's just it's mind-boggling. It really is. But so I'm hope that what I'm saying is not offending anybody or taking anybody aback or making them feel any type of way threatened about some of the things that I'm saying, because I don't mean it to be that way. But at the same time, I have to have a voice and an opinion. I mean, these are some of the things that was mandated for us through the Continental Republic, through the United States Constitution, and we have to use that. If we don't use that, it's going to be taken away from us. We have to usurp these amendments. We have to use some of the things that are the ideas that our forefathers have put forth. Even in some of the things that happened in the past, especially for my people, my so-called race, the black race, which is a status race, which all the races are statuses, but we've been through hell in this country. Nobody's came to us and apologized and told us anything. And they don't want to have any conversations about reparations, anything like that. These folks had done atrocities to our people, and it wasn't so long ago. Some of this stuff wasn't even 100 years ago. I mean, it was just like it was yesterday. And we're still having the mind-boggling effects from it. We're having an adverse effect to the things that happen to us, and it's showing, a lot of things and a lot of actions that we take as being so-called black folks in this country. I think, if it wasn't for so-called black folks in this country, I think the economy would be worse off, because we spend with everybody. We're not prejudiced to who we give our dollar to, but there are some other people in other communities that's prejudiced against us. They won't come, give us anything in our establishments or patronize any of our businesses. And I find that kind of strange. I mean, all dollars spend the same, so I don't see, why they have, what they have against us, because we don't mind spending our hard-earned dollar with a lot of these other nationality folks. And I can name a few: the Chinese, the Koreans, even the Mexicans. Everybody, for that matter. Everybody over in this country that has a business, if there's something that black folk want to get, they're going to go get what they want. They're not going to scrutinize any business. They're not going to try to talk down on anybody. Most of us, we don't mind spending our dollars with anybody. And I think that's hurting us more than helping us, because I think we need to stand up and start formulating against a lot of these establishments, because they don't mean us anything. They won't even have a day for you to give you, like, hey, come get some free stuff. We're doing this for you. We love this community. We love the way you take care of us. We done got rich, off you folks. They don't want to do none of that. They just want to constantly taking in and not giving. And that stuff has to change. That has to change. We got to figure out a way to be stronger as a people, how we can monopolize and be strong against all this stuff that's going on against us. It's not just one thing, it's several things. We just have to stand up and do the right thing. We don't have to bash anybody. We just need to formulate and stick together. Basically like when we were in segregation, when we were forced to, formulate Black Wall Street. Because Black Wall Street was very profitable and very successful. But we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. Because when these folks came back from the war and they seen how profitable and how successful that we were, they didn't like that either. First of all, they didn't want to be around us because they wanted us to be segregated. So what wasn't nothing else for us to do. So we had to figure out something to do in order to barter, or in order to have our own entrepreneurial mindsets in order to become successful in something. So we became successful in our business. We had Millionaires Row in Tulsa, Oklahoma, on Black Wall Street, and they still didn't want to leave us alone. That was the first act of terrorism. That was a bomb dropped on us right here on this soil. So yeah, we were bombed right here on this soil in 1920, 1921. Yes, it's a true story. You can go look it up. This history exists. So like I said, my people have been through a lot. We have been through hell.